Welcome back to my Darling Bride podcast with the Yemlos. On this podcast, we dig, discover, and deploy biblical gems for the building or rebuilding of kingdom homes and relationships.
Yes, we are on a mission to equip couples on how to build on a rock-solid foundation, cultivate a culture of honor and respect, invest intentionally and consistently in your marriage or your relationship, defend your union, and lastly, empower one another towards purpose fulfillment.
Absolutely. This is where love meets legacy. And like we like to say, this is where real love meets real talk. We got a good one for you on today. Let's get it. All right, we want to welcome you to the month of March. This is the month where we make the intentional decision to march forward. And on that note, welcome to a new series of my Darling Bride podcast with the Yemlos. Yes, I said the Yemlos. A lot of people has been asking us, what does that mean? The Yemlo is our unofficial last name, if you will. It is a combination of my first name, my Nigerian first name, and my wife's Nigerian first name, Yemi, and Loni equals Yemlo, and we actually used it as the hashtag for our wedding. And ever since then, we've just kind of been known as the Yemlos as a collective. And so we've adopted it as an unofficial last name. It is not our last name. It is just an unofficial last name that we are known for as a family. And on that note, I want to invite you all to go and follow our family page, the Yemlos.
The Yemlos.
On YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok.
Yes.
And
on Facebook.
And on Facebook, yes. The Yemlos, please go ahead and follow us. We post a lot of family content on there. This is ministry page, of course, so the content here is going to be a little different. But if you want to see the behind the scene, the real us, it's there.
And we post our discussions on
the Yemlos as well. So the Yemlos, So you're going to be hearing that a lot. Meet the Yemlos, or my Darling Bride podcast with the Yemlos. Today we're talking about marriage is. That is the theme or the series of the month of March, talking about what marriage is, especially what marriage is to us, right? Over the years, we've been married now, going on 9 years. We'll be 10 years next year by the special grace of God. We've learned a few things here and there about marriage, and we want to talk about what we believe, 4 things this month that we're going to discuss, amongst many other things that marriage is to us. And so for today, we're talking about one of them very quickly. Marriage is what?
Covenant.
Yes, marriage is
covenant.
Go for it.
Yes. I mean, and I love this one because we kind of dived a little bit back in the day on this covenant issue as to what it means to be in a covenant with someone. Yes, ma'am. And every time we talk about that, I remember the analogy we gave back then when we said back in the day, I think it was like cults or something like that. They have you do like a blood covenant, it's like you cut your finger and you both cut your hand, and then you put it together, and it's like you're in this covenant together. And the truth of the matter is, we said then, was that is exactly what marriage is. Marriage is a covenant. It is something that's unbreakable. It is something that's forever. So what is marriage to us? Marriage is covenant.
You know, there's a part in the Bible where it talks about how, the wife of your youth is the wife of your covenant, right? And I really wanted us to kind of break that down. What do we mean by marriage is covenant? Because obviously the contrast of that is marriage is not a contract.
Right.
It is a covenant. A contract is a partnership, is an agreement, right? Whereby a covenant is a promise. It's not a partnership. And it's not because, and the difference between that is a partnership says, here are terms of agreement. You do your part, I do my part. If you don't do your part, I don't have to do my part. It's conditional. Whereas covenant says, I make a promise to you, and that promise, what I believe makes it even stronger of a covenant, right, is that there is a deity involved in this covenant. Remember, we talked about how our marriage is not, it's a cord of 3.
Yes.
It's not a cord of 2.
Yes.
It's a cord of 3. And the Bible talks about, when you put a cord of 3 together, you're involving yourself, your spouse, of course, and God, right? And so when God is involved, it's beyond just y'all, right? It's more than the two of you. God is involved, and that means God is the one that's upholding the marriage. And the Bible says what God has joined together by covenant, let no man put asunder. And so we realize that to us, if God is involved in this situation, then it is not just an agreement. It is not just a contract. It is a covenant. It is a covenant in that I could say, even if you don't uphold your end of the bargain, I still have an obligation to you because of the covenant. And let me just stop here and put a disclaimer out there, man. Look, like the analogy that you were giving earlier, blood covenant. I mean, if you understand the concept of that, that's the seriousness of marriage to us.
Exactly.
In that, in a blood covenant, for example, if one person betrays the covenant, the consequence was death.
Is dire. Exactly. Is some.
You know what I'm saying? It's either you die or you run mad or something crazy. I mean, the consequence was really crazy. And so people,
because of how deep that covenant is.
It's not even just because of how deep the covenant is. It's because of the deity, the spiritual, the spirit involved in it. And so even if again, using the knowledge of the blood covenant, right? Even if the other person that was quote unquote betrayed or wronged or whatever the case, even if they were willing to say, okay, you know what, I forgive you, I'm going to move on. It is what it is. I'll let you go. It's not hard. The deity is like, well, you can do that, but you still got to answer to me. And so when we then understand that about blood covenant, we are very wary. We think about it 10 times over before we try anything stupid. Because we know that it's not even so much about the person you're in a covenant with.
Exactly.
It's the deity that you've involved in the covenant. You understand what I'm saying? And so I tell my wife all the time, the reason why I don't cheat on you, it's not because I'm a man of God. It's not because I'm most holy, most righteous. It's not because you got it all figured out either. It's not because you're the most beautiful or you're the most this, you're the most that. And so because
it's not because of you.
It has nothing to do with you. My fear is between me and God.
Exactly.
My fear, and not fear in that I'm afraid or whatever, but my reverence. My what I hold so dearly to me is my access and relationship with God. And that alone cautions me when I think about stepping out. If I even think about it. You know what I mean? So because I know that my covenant is not just with you. It's between you and between God in this situation.
And that's why when we talk about marriage, we always encourage people to understand what they're getting into. It's not something to take lightly because there are responsibilities that are bestowed upon you because of that covenant. Like the example you just gave, in a promise and a contract, if I breach that contract, I can dissolve the partnership. But in a covenant, even when it is breached by the other party, I still have a responsibility to still show up. That is part of the responsibilities that come with it. So I don't have the liberty or the freedom to just say, well, I'm done. And you know, let's just be real with ourselves. Yes, we know there's certain situations and different kind of, you know, circumstances that could cause somebody to say, well, I need to leave this marriage. But that's the thing. Even in those cases, there are consequences because you entered a covenant. And that's why it's important to enter a covenant with the right person. So that way you're not in a situation that would force you to leave. Because guess what? The consequences is still there.
Not just force you to leave, but force you to stay where you don't want to stay.
Exactly.
And you're staying because it's covenant.
Exactly.
But again, I just want to put another disclaimer out there. This is what marriage means to us. There are a lot of people out there who get married for multiple different reasons. And we're not here to judge or justify your reasonings to you. That's you. But we're talking about what marriage is, to us. Number one, marriage is covenant. Now, let's take it back really quickly. When did we know, or how did we know that we were going to go in this route, or our understanding of marriage got this deep to the level of saying that, you know what, this is a covenant to me. This is, and the reason why I'm asking that is, I mean, I'm just go ahead and answer that.
I mean, for me personally, I feel like it's always been like that from the beginning. I always understood, and it could be from teachings and kind of my understanding of what marriage was based on, you know, my Christian journey and getting to know God and understanding what marriage is and seeing it too. But from the beginning, I've always had that mentality that whatever it is I'm getting into, whatever marriage I'm getting into, it's a covenant. I personally, for me, it's that important. So it was much more important for me to get into that covenant with the right person.
And you know, the funny thing is we didn't even have language for it. At least I didn't have language for it at that time.
Right.
I didn't have covenant.
Yes.
That language or the word covenant wasn't there. The only thing that I knew was marriage is unbreakable.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
Marriage to us is unbreakable.
Exactly.
And there is no circumstance that can happen that breaks that bond, that covenant. And I think it probably had something to do with the fact that it took us time to actually pull the trigger on getting married.
Yes.
We courted for some
time.
time.
About 6 years.
You know what I'm saying? Because it needed to be, this is the right person and this is the forever person.
Based on our expectation and understanding of what marriage was.
It was important that we had the same understanding of what marriage is.
Because it really just means no matter the situation, regardless of how I'm feeling, regardless of my feelings, because covenant forces you to put the feelings aside. It forces you to put feelings to the side. You know, we're emotional beings, we're physical beings. So emotions will happen, but it forces you to put the pride and the ego aside because you're in this covenant with this person. So you have it's a responsibility. I don't even want to say it's a burden, but it almost is, because at the end of the day, this is the responsibility that is bestowed upon you the minute you said I do. So come what may, you still have to show up. Even when I'm in my feelings, even when I'm upset, even when I'm disappointed, I can't just say finito. I don't want anymore.
And I think a lot of times people are struggling with that understanding in our generation, in this new generation, because the concept of covenant is so scarce.
Yes.
It's like
it's removed.
It's rarely
it doesn't
talked
exist.
about.
Yeah.
You know,
it's more contract based.
It is, exactly. It's more like, does this work
what
for
do you
me?
bring
Does
to the
this fit
table? What do
into
I
my
bring
life?
to the table? How can we make it work? And it's like, if it's not working, I'm good.
You know what I'm saying? So, and again, hey, look, to each his own, but to us, we chose that route of saying marriage is covenant to us.
And I want to add this too.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe that understanding as well of marriage marriage is a covenant to us is also what has shaped our decisions and some of the actions that we take. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's also put us in a position where it's like, I have to do my very best to be the best person for this person because I am in a covenant and I don't want to put my partner in a position where they feel like they're stuck or now they can't leave. So I have to show up and give my 100% and be faithful and be truthful and be transparent and be loving. Like I have to put in the work to be the best person because marriage is a covenant. And because of the seriousness of it, I can't just come into it plain as well. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of put us in a position to also show up as well.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, once we took the time to understand that, number one, it propelled us into the next phase of our relationship to say, all right, time for marriage, right? But beyond that, we were able to settle it in our mind. We settled it once and for all. Because again, it is a serious thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you settle it, it's settled in your mind, there's nothing more to discuss.
Yeah.
You
And
know
it
what I'm
doesn't
saying?
feel heavy.
And
It doesn't feel like a
when
huge
you're
responsibility.
doing it with the right person, it doesn't feel heavy.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a huge responsibility.
Right.
And honestly, the best way that I can put it in an American context, right? I feel like a lot of Nigerians, a lot of Africans will probably they would understand this. It's easy to understand covenant because there's a lot of things going on in that world that they see and they understand.
The concept.
The concept of covenants versus contracts, you know? I mean, you know what I'm saying? What's understood does not need to be explained kind of thing. But here in America, I feel like the closest we could probably see to understanding what a covenant is, and even then, it's still really not necessarily, but I feel like maybe because we're watching a mob show right now, but they have this code, this understanding that we have a bond and we have a covenant, not agreement. A contract. And you know what's funny? They uphold that code so dearly because it's what makes them.
It's what defines them.
It's what defines them as a syndicate.
Even when they hate each other, even when they don't like each other, even when they're upset together, they will still. The minute that code, that agreement, that covenant is threatened, they come together like, whoa, no.
And the funny thing that I love about it so much is that you notice it's never a written agreement.
Yes.
It's never a thing where sign the paper. And no. It's like, my word is my bond.
Yeah.
And I live by this code.
Yes.
And that's why it was important for me to know for sure, not just what I wanted to hear, but to know for my knowing's sake that you also live by the same code.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because then we have that understanding.
Because at that point, whatever we were signing is just formalities.
Yes. I love that.
You know what I'm saying?
I love that because you do sign the marriage certificate and all but that's just paperwork. That's just the legality of it.
Yeah.
What's even more covenantal is that agreement you make on the altar when you say, or in front of the pastor, or under wherever it is. But that agreement with God where you say, yes, I do, in sickness and in health and in everything they proclaimed, and that's really when that agreement comes in.
It's words,
and people need to
stronger.
get. And it's I love that example you gave because it's like, if I've given you my word, I'm not gonna turn back, and that's a godly character. I'm not gonna turn back on my word. You know, when God gave his word, he doesn't turn back on his word. It's a godly character.
Yeah.
And it's like, no matter what the paper says, no matter what the agreement says, that's why people have the mentality of, I'll just go file for divorce. I'll just go file it and put it in the system and move on because we think it's a paper matter. But it's not.
It's beyond that.
It's beyond that.
Yeah. It's not a partnership, it's a promise.
Yeah.
It's not paperwork, it's heart work.
Yeah.
It's mind, is word.
Yeah.
Is what you say out of your mouth to God's
and
ears.
That is power.
And that is power.
Yes.
That has more life than
whatever
what
you sign.
you sign. And so marriage to us is a covenant. It's what we've chosen to do. And it's been working for us almost 10 years now.
Yes.
And to the glory of God, by his grace, is going to work for us for another 10 and another 10 and another 10 and another 10. Because we have that clear understanding. There's a code we live by.
Yeah.
What code do you live by?
Yeah.
What code do your marriage live by or stand on?
Yeah.
That's the question you got to ask yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're in that position where you have a partner, you guys are not quite married yet, this is the time to start asking those questions, right? Here are my codes, and they are unbreakable.
Yeah.
What are your codes? How do you see marriage, you know? And again, I'll just say this part and we'll close. We also came from a background where we've seen marriages that thrived.
Yeah.
Years and years and years and years. I mean, 20 years marriages,
50 years.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they're not one of those marriages that said, I'm gonna stay with you just because of the kids.
Yeah.
No, these are like
kids
marriage,
are out the picture.
Exactly. Marriage that lived by a code.
Yeah.
A code of conduct, a code and agreement of like, yo, beyond the paperwork, beyond what everybody can see outside, me and you were like bread and butter. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we get ourselves because there's a code we live by. What code are you living by? That's the question we got to ask you on tonight. Any question? Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. I hope we've shared a tip or two to help solidify your kingdom union, not only with yourself, but also with others, and most importantly, with God on today.
Yes. Don't forget to like, share with your friends and family. Hit the subscribe button and comment down below.
And until next time, be the light.
Be the salt.
And remember,
all things are possible if you believe.
We love you with the love of God. See you on the next one. Marriage is covenant. The next one, we'll talk about it on next week by the special grace of God. Please subscribe, follow, share, and go to the Yemlos page.
And
YouTube,
follow.
Instagram, TikTok,
hit the follow
and Facebook.
Button. Hit.
Follow
Comments,
us.
watch
God bless
everything.
Bye-bye. We love you.
Bye.